So, the second number line that I gave you is almost identical, except instead of it just saying 1 and 2, it has 1 pi and 2 pi. And this is what you're going to be becoming familiar with when we get to the unit circle. So whenever you have a pi, we're going to kind of think of that like a variable. So if you have 1/6, it's just going to be 1/6 pi. However, the way we're going to write it is with the pi as part of the numerator. So instead of
Maya Gamble, report to the front office immediately. Maya Gamble.
So instead of having 1/6 pi, we're going to write it as 1 pi over 6. Or really, you don't need the 1. Kind of like you don't need 1x, you can just put x. Okay. So what would my next number be on my number line? On your first number line you did 1/3 pi, but if we don't want the pi out to the side, we can write it as pi over 3. Yep. So this is really like 1 pi over 3.
Oh my gosh. Why did you leave the 1 on the first one? Oh.
It doesn't matter.
Never mind, you added it. Sorry.
Yeah, we're not going to edit it. You're not, like, in the future, you're not going to see it as 1 pi. Because that's 1 times pi. You're just going to see pi. But same difference. All right, what's this next one going to be? Pi over 2. Or 1 pi over 2. Then what? 2 pi over 3. Yep. And then what? 5 pi over 6. Are these looking familiar, Alexis? Kinda. A little bit. Yep. Yep. All right, and then we have, this would be 6 pi over 6, which is 1 pi. And then we would have what? 7 pi over 6. And then it would be 8 pi over 6, which simplifies to 4 pi over 3. And then 9 pi over 6, which simplifies to pi over 2. And then 10 pi over 6, which simplifies to 5 pi over 3. And then 11 pi over 6. And then 12 over 6 would be 2 pi. So this number line is just split into sixths. And then we have the same thing down here where they're split into fourths. All right. Except we have a pi with them. All right, what is this first one going to be? Pi over 4 or 1 pi over 4. It's like 1/4 pi. And then we have what? Pi over 2. Yep. Next. 3 pi over 4. And then 4 over 4, 4 pi over 4 simplifies to 1 pi. And then it would be what? 5 pi over 4. Mm, 3 pi over 2. And then what? 7 pi over 4. And then 8 over 4 is 2 pi. Yep. So if you look on my number lines, those are the same. Those are the same. Those are the same. Those are the same. And those are the same. Interesting. Okay. Next thing. All right, so we're working with a circle. This special circle that we call the unit circle is like super important. Like, you are going to have to know this circle front and back. Starting, once we get it finalized, you're going to have regular unit circle quizzes that you're just going to get to take over and over and over all the time. You're going to get to where you're getting 100% on all of them. And there's going to be a unit circle quiz that goes in the grade book. So once you get and you're making hundreds on it all the time, you're going to get a 100 quiz grade, basically, is what's happening. You have to memorize this. We're going to be doing some trig, and there's going to be special values, and you're not going to get a calculator on it. But the unit circle is going to tell us what those trig values are. So in your calculator, if you type in sine of 50, it's going to give you a number. We're learning what that value would be just for very specific, like not anything. You're not going to be able to do sine of anything, but very specific ones that you have to memorize. Okay. The good thing is you can do the number line. That's half of the unit circle. So if you are able to fill out a number line, you're able to fill out half of the unit circle. You're going to have to memorize a few numbers, and those don't have as much to memorize, it seems at first. So the first thing we're going to do is start sectioning off our unit circle. And the way we section it off comes from the circumference of this. Does anybody know the formula for the circumference of a circle? And you don't have to write this down. Yes, it is. 2 pi. Now we are specifically talking about a unit circle, and if I had lots of time, if this was just a trigonometry class and this is all we did, we would do a lot of figuring out where all these numbers come from and how it all works. We don't have that time. We're talking about a unit circle. It's special because it gives us these values, and it's kind of like a cheat sheet, kind of like a multiplication table or just any kind of cheat sheet. It's like the periodic table cheat sheet. But a unit circle is called a unit circle because the radius is 1 unit. So if my radius is 1, not necessarily 1 inch, 1 whatever, what is my circumference of this circle? 2 pi. Which is why your number line went to 2 pi. So all the way around your circle is 2 pi. And we're going to split this unit circle into sixths, and we're going to split it into, well, really 12. Sixths and fourths, basically. So let's start with the fourths. Those are the easy ones. So here is your, this is like your X and Y axis. If you want to label, this would be your Y, and this would be your X. So what you're going to do is I want you to fold it in half. Crease it good, and it should crease along your axes first. So hopefully you can get that pretty spot on with those lines. So you're going to have this, a big pizza, slice of pizza, and then you're going to fold that in half one more time. So you have this size pizza slice. So you folded it on your 4 axes, and then you fold it in half again. Do the best at creasing as you can. And when you open it up, you should technically have 8 sections. If you think about your number line, the bottom number line, there were like 8 sections in your number line. It's not going to be absolutely perfect. That's okay. Alright, once you get opened up, take your ruler and your colored pen. Does anybody need a colored pencil, pen, marker?
How many colors do you
2. Okay, so open it up and you're going to take your ruler and you're going to take one of your colors and you're going to trace over those folded lines that you just made. Let's see. This color. It's not going to be 100% perfect. That's okay. But try to get it as close as you can. Like a unit circle.
Can I have some colored pencils?
Yes.
surgery?
X and Y axis lines are going to be your tick marks. And you start over that space where I need to try to, okay, so leave that space open. So go up then for 4. And then the next one would be you can
What's the top one?
pi over 2. Or each of those tick marks. Here should be 1 pi. Pi over 7 pi over 4. You think about periodic things that well, this unit circle is going to keep repeating. Is 6 pi. So remember how we did out like those, kind of what's happening here, what we did in 3.1. Explain, these are our angles. So this is a, from here to here, is a pi over 4 angle. It's not, we don't use degrees in this class. This is a pi over 4 angle. A 45-degree angle, basically. This angle right here is a pi over 2 angle. A 90-degree angle, but we're not going to call it 90 degrees. Right. But as a whole, this makes up 2 pi. So when you are thinking about a unit circle and you're number one, and we made it into a circle. So these are the fourths. Now we're going to do the same thing with the sixth. So get your axes folded back. Now this one is your crease. We're going to try to fold this one into first. Okay, so if you want to watch, and I don't make Once you think about it, then you can crease. Alright, so it's easier to kind of hold it like this. Okay, I'm going to take the bottom. Hard to see. So it's going to come up. You want 3 equal sections. You're kind of ignoring the half one that you already had. You're going to have 3 equal sections. So it's going up about to right here. So I kind of like, you want to be able to fold it and they line up. So you're folding it into thirds. So it'll be, so fold this one up and the top comes back down over top.
I'm so confused.
I'll come back there and help you. All right. When you open it up, each quadrant should basically have 2 creases. You're going to use your ruler and your second color and make those lines. Alright, so I'm going to take this. So your lines really should go through the origin, and it's hard to do. Really, a lot of people do this with a paper plate, and those are really hard to fold. So you should be tracing in, you'll end up tracing in actually 4 complete lines across, because your axes count 2. And honestly, I probably should have had you do the axes in a different color, because they go with both, but it doesn't matter. And this is what it looks like. And if you want to start filling in, so same here, we start back at 0, and now we're going to your other lines. So 0, mine is blue, so my first blue line, if I look at my number line, is going to be pi over 6. 1 pi over 6. So each section from blue to blue is 1/6. So it's going 1/6, 2/6. The axes count. They count for both. The axes, remember we had I had some that you had the same number on both number lines. Those are your X and Y axes. So 1/6, 2/6, which is 1/3, so pi over 3. This one is still pi over 2. 2 pi over 3. So I'm just going on your number line. 2 pi over 3. 5 pi over 6, 1 pi, okay, 7 pi over 6, I'll give you another one. The next one will be 8 pi over 6, which is 4 pi over 3, 9 pi over 6, which is 3 pi over 2, do you want to blank anyone?
Yours are like closer to the middle than mine are all.
Which ones?
These ones are my 6. But mine are like in the middle because I thought they were sort of. Mine are in the middle too.
Yeah, they should have been closer to the blue. And when I said go through the middle, and that might have been what confused you. I mean the origin. Like all of your lines really should go through the origin. That's kind of what I meant.
Do we just keep the same 0?
I think we folded it wrong.
Yeah. So they all have 0 and 2 pi are the same. 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, 8 pi are all the same. Now when I give you some to fill out, because you're going to have, sometimes you're going to fill them out online, sometimes what I have is blank spaces. I kind of like widened it out here for you to write that, because we have more things that are going also around the outside that we will learn later. But for right now, your goal is to memorize these angles. So I'm going to give you a few more minutes to finish this, and then, or to work on it, and those of you that are redoing it, you might have to finish it